For years, my ex used me for money. But one day, I sent her the bill. My name's Ryan. I'm 31 now. The kind of guy who keeps his receipts and rinses the coffee pot at night so the morning version of me won't hate the evening version. That wasn't always true. 10 years ago, I was 21. A computer science undergrad who thought love was a project you could brute force with enough patience and caffeine. I thought sacrifice made things real. I thought being the steady one meant I'd be chosen back. Her name was Madison. She had movie poster hair and a laugh that made strangers turn around and smile like they'd been included in the joke. She studied communications, said she wanted to work in PR and build brands for people who don't know how to be interesting. I was interested enough for both of us. The first time we went out, she forgot her wallet. I paid. She apologized. Dramatic hand to chest, swore it would never happen again. The second time she was between paychecks, I paid. She kissed me under a busted streetlight and said, "You're such a good guy." And just like that, I was hooked on being that good, dependable, there. It started like all long cons do. Small truths stretched until they snapped. Her roommate was moving. Could she crash at my place for a week, maybe two? The week bled into months. Her car needed new brakes. "It's dangerous to drive like this, Rye. Can you help?" The landlord randomly raised rent. "We should split it. We're basically living together." Groceries, utilities, textbooks. I had a work-study job in the computer lab, plus freelance gigs fixing the campus website no one admitted was constantly breaking. She had a job too, technically, bottle service, 2 nights a week at a club across town, but her shifts were always canceled. Or she came home shorted on tips, furious at the world, tipsy enough to talk me into covering just this one thing until she could pick up extra nights. I kept a spreadsheet because that's what my brain does when it's trying to stay calm. Cells and columns, something neat to hold the messy. At first it was for me to see what I could afford. Rent, split. Utilities, I'll cover this month. Gas, sure. Groceries, okay. Loaned $40 for work shoes. Paid $120 for phone bill, so it doesn't get shut off. It felt like being generous. It felt like building a future. She said words like we and ours and later, and I believed my math could make them true. When I talked about internships, Madison rolled her eyes. "Ugh, Rye, my ex had one of those. He worked 1,000,000 hours for free. You should just focus on your degree and help me until I get my PR job. Then we'll be fine." When I brought home secondhand chairs from a yard sale to make the apartment feel less like a place I was borrowing, she posted them on Facebook Marketplace because they weren't my vibe, babe. The chairs sold in an hour, and the cash disappeared in 2. We had fights, none of them ending so much as running out of air. She'd turn her head and look hurt in the way that makes you apologize for making someone hurt. "You're making me feel like a burden," she'd say, voice small. "Don't you want me here?" I did. That was the problem. I wanted her there so much. I kept moving the line of what I could afford. Senior spring, a friend's dad hooked me up with an interview for a junior developer role at a small health tech company downtown. The salary wasn't huge, but it was numbers I'd never seen next to my name before. I got dressed in a shirt that had only ever visited weddings and funerals, and went to the interview with my hands shaking. When I got the call, I sat on the floor because my knees didn't trust themselves. "They said yes," I told Madison, grinning. She screamed, jumped into my lap, cried happy tears, and then said, "This means we can finally get out of this dump, right? Maybe a place with a balcony and a washer, dryer." "I'm not doing quarters anymore, Rye," I said yes. Because I could suddenly see that balcony, see us there. Saturday mornings, 2 mugs and a breeze. The first 6 months at the job were a blur of sprint planning and code reviews, learning how to be the slowest person in every room without hating myself for it. Madison was finding herself, which looked like sleeping in and posting pictures of potential looks, with captions like "PR girl on the rise." When rent was due, she'd Venmo you tonight, pinky promise, and then her account would be frozen, or she'd accidentally send it to the wrong Ryan, swear to God. I learned how to be the kind of person who refreshes a banking app during lunch. She got a new phone on a payment plan because her old one couldn't hold a charge, And then she missed the first payment and cried like the world was ending. I took care of it. She got into a minor fender bender that she swore wasn't her fault, but also didn't have insurance to handle. I took care of it. She had a dental emergency. I took care of it. A friend's bachelorette trip to Miami that would be rude not to attend. I didn't take care of it. I said no. She screamed, cried, called me controlling, slammed the door so hard a frame fell off the wall. I picked up the photo, taped the corner back together, and told myself this was a rough patch. When my company announced holiday bonuses that year, I said, this is it. I can finally start paying down my student loans. Madison said, yes, and we can finally go somewhere nice for New Year's. Aspen? New York? We deserve it after this year. I laughed because I thought she was joking. She wasn't. We did not go anywhere for New Year's. She did not forgive me for that for months. The worst thing about being used is that you learn how to narrate your own exploitation so it sounds noble. I'm investing in us. She just needs a little time. It's not her fault. I told myself all of that right up to the night I came home an hour late because a server went down and found Madison in our kitchen with a candlelit table and another man. He wasn't touching her, not yet. He was laughing at something she said, and his hands were on the back of my chair. He had a watch you could see your future in. Madison didn't look guilty when she saw me. She looked irritated. You're late, she said. I put my keys on the counter because I didn't want to throw them. What is this? She blinked like she was bored. This is Ryan. I told him we were done. The other guy had the decency to look uncomfortable. I didn't know, he started, and then stopped because he absolutely knew. We were standing in our kitchen. I remember absurd details, the way the candle flickered, the smudge of sauce on the edge of the plate I had washed 100 times, the sound of my heartbeat in my ears. You told him we're done? I said to Madison. She crossed her arms. You don't listen, Rye. You don't get me. You make me feel small. Ryan does the opposite. Oh, I listen, I said. I've been listening for years. I pointed at the candle. You owe me for that. And for the plates. And for everything. She laughed, a sound with no warmth. Couples don't keep score. That's toxic. We stopped being a couple when you invited a stranger into our kitchen, I said. Get out. She rolled her eyes as if I'd told her her post had a typo. You can't tell me to leave. My stuff is here. So is my dignity, I said. And I'm finding it. I opened the door. She grabbed her bag, told the other Ryan to text her, and then turned to me and said, You'll be nothing without me. It was so rehearsed it sounded like she'd been waiting to say it. After they left, I stood in the doorway for a full minute, hand on the frame, until the hallway light clicked off automatically. Then I cleaned everything because I didn't know what else to do. The next morning, I changed the locks. You'd think that would be the end. It wasn't. Breakups aren't endings, they're logistical problems with feelings attached. Madison texted that she needed to pick up her stuff. I boxed it. She said I had some of her clothes. I put a bag in the lobby and told the front desk when she'd get it. She said I owed her for emotional damages and the time of her life she wasted on me. I did not reply. And then there was money. Rent she promised to send later. Utilities that must be wrong because I didn't use that much hot water. The phone bill I'd put in my name as a temporary fix. The emergency dental work, the fender bender, the everything of 3 years. People told me to let it go. You'll never see that money again, they said. Think of it as tuition. I tried, but I'm a developer. Bugs bother me, loose ends itch. And somewhere even deeper than the need for closure was this. I had proof, not feelings, not memories, proof. So I treated it like a project. I opened my old spreadsheet, added tabs, hunted down emails I'd archived, pulled bank statements, combed through texts. The sum wasn't pretty. $19,784.26 I could prove. Another $1,200 I could estimate. And about $8,000 in we just won't count it. Because I didn't want to become a person who billed for every coffee. I printed everything and put it in a binder with color-coded tabs, because pettiness can be beautiful when it's organized. Madison moved on in the way people like Madison do, loudly, publicly, with captions that used words like manifest. I muted her everywhere. A few months later, she posted a photo of a ring and a hand holding a champagne flute. The caption, "He said I never had to worry about money again." The comments, "Queen. Finally. So happy for you, babe." I turned my phone face down and did not cry. I went for a run and cried on the way back, quiet and ridiculous and necessary. Time is merciless and kind. It passed, I got promoted. I paid down debt. I bought a couch that didn't remind me of anyone. I went on dates, some funny, some forgettable. I stopped calling myself the guy who got used and started being the guy who makes decent carbonara. I thought that was the end of it. Until a year later, on a Tuesday that tasted like the inside of a conference room, Madison texted me. "Hey stranger," she wrote. "Long time. Hope you're well. Quick question." I stared at the screen for a long minute, because that's what you do before you decide whether to dig up a grave. "What's up?" I wrote. She sent 3 messages fast. "I know I still owe you for some stuff from back in the day. I've been thinking a lot about being a better person. Can we chat? I want to make it right." I laughed out loud, which made Jason from QA look up, because apparently I don't laugh out loud in the office. I took a breath, looked at the binder I'd tucked into a closet and never touched, and wrote, "Sure." We met at a cafe I chose because the tables were far apart and the coffee wasn't bad. Madison looked like a more polished version of herself. Her hair was shorter, her nails were perfect, and the first thing she did was arrange her phone and keys on the table like props. She smiled. "Railway. You look stable." "I am," I said. She launched into a monologue about growth, therapy, journaling, calling in abundance. Her fiancé, no husband now, was in finance. They had a place in the good part of town. "We're doing great," she said, and then lowered her voice a fraction. I think about how I left, and it was messy, and I want to clear karma." "You owe me money," I said. She blinked. "Right." "That," she laughed. "Honestly, I don't even know what the number would be." It was so long ago I slid the binder across the table. She didn't touch it. I opened it for her. Tabs smiled up. Rent, utilities, phone, car, medical, MISC. "This is insane," she said softly, flipping, then stopping because details hurt when they're real. "You kept everything?" "I'm a software engineer," I said. "We track bugs." She skimmed. I didn't fill the silence. The total was at the back, printed twice. Once as the number it was then. Once adjusted for inflation because I had had too much time. $19,784.26. $23,109.58. "You have 90 days, I said. "After that, I file in small claims. If the cap won't cover it, I split it across filings. If your current address is different, give it to me now, or I'll send to your last known address in your office." Her smile cracked. "You wouldn't. You told me I'd be nothing without you," I said. "I'm something now. A person with records." She put the binder down like it might explode. "Rye, be reasonable. Couples don't keep score. We stopped being a couple when you cheated," I said. "This isn't a score. This is a bill." She tried charm, then guilt, then anger. She cycled through them like a dial stuck between stations. "My husband will be furious you're harassing me. We're talking about pennies to you now. You have a good job. I made you who you are." I didn't respond to any of it. When she finally said, "Let me talk to him," I nodded. 90 days, I said. "Day 91 I file." She left in a huff that tugged at the door so hard the bell smacked the glass. I finished my coffee. I took the binder home and put it back in the closet, and then took it out again because hiding proof felt like hiding nerve. I left it on the desk where I could see it, a paper spine keeping my back straight. Day 10. Nothing. Day 21. Nothing. Day 30. A text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Andrew. I'm Madison's husband. I'd like to resolve this. We set a meeting at an office downtown with big glass walls designed to make everyone feel transparent. He shook my hand with the practiced sincerity of someone who closes deals for a living. Madison sat beside him, polished into silence. He said, "We want to settle this privately. No legal theatrics." He slid a check across the table for $5,000. I slid it back. That covers the phone bill and the car, not the rent, not the rest. He took a breath. "You're being punitive." "I'm being accurate," I said, and opened the binder. He didn't read it. Men like him hire reading. 90 days, I reminded him. Since you've reached out, I'll reset the clock from today. Another 90, he smiled his teeth. You're enjoying this. I looked at Madison. I'm not. I'm ending it. They left with the check in his pocket. Day 45. I got a certified letter from their attorney claiming I was harassing a married couple with baseless demands. I emailed back a PDF with the binder, my response in 3 lines. Here are the facts. Here is the law. Day 90 is in 45 days. Day 60. A Venmo from Madison for $100 with the memo first step. I declined it and texted her. Payments by cashier's check only. No emojis. Day 75. Nothing. Day 89. A message. We need an extension, we're traveling. 90, I replied. You've had years. On day 91, I filed in small claims for the maximum and listed the rest for a second filing with a court date 30 days after the first. I sent a polite note to their attorney with the case numbers. The court clerk stamped my papers with a sound that felt like a door shutting. Not on me this time, but on the version of me who thought responsibility had to mean carrying someone who kept dropping their end. The first hearing was underwhelming. A beige room. A judge with eyebrows heavy enough to anchor a canoe. A line of people who all looked like life had charged them interest. I presented my binder. Madison's attorney argued I was being vindictive. The judge said, I don't care about feelings. I care about documentation. He flipped pages, grunted. Looks like you owe him, he said to Madison. Judgment for the plaintiff. He set a payment schedule with interest if they missed. The second hearing went the same way. Beige, binder, judgment. It wasn't cinematic, it was better. It was real. They paid the first 3 installments and then stopped. I filed a wage garnishment. Andrew's firm fought it, then complied. Someone in payroll had to read my name every 2 weeks and send me a slice of Andrew's salary. I didn't gloat. I also didn't apologize. When Madison texted me, "You're ruining my marriage," I wrote back, "I didn't ruin anything. I sent the bill." Revenge is a word people use when they don't want to call something by its real name. Balance. The money came in, slowly, painfully like teeth. I put half toward my loans and half into a savings account I named repairs. Not because of anything in my apartment, but because of what was still being fixed in me. On the day the last payment cleared, I closed the account and bought nothing. I went for a walk. I passed a couple arguing about something stupid and important in that way couples do, and I didn't feel superior or broken. I felt like someone who had finally done the thing he kept saying he would. A month later, I ran into Madison on the sidewalk outside a grocery store. She looked tired, like the glow of being taken care of had finally revealed itself as fluorescent lighting. She glanced at my tote bag, at the basil sticking out like a flag, at the plainness of a person buying food. You won, she said. No, I said. I ended it, she swallowed. We're divorcing, she said, like a dare. Are you happy? I hope you pay your next person, I said. And yourself. I walked away, and the basil left its smell behind me like proof I'd been somewhere and made it better. If you want the short version, here it is. For years my ex used me for money. I let her because I thought love was a debt you kept paying, but one day I sent her the bill. I didn't scream. I didn't post a thread. I didn't make a bonfire of her clothes. I documented. I filed. I followed through. I'd learned that boundaries are boring until they're beautiful. And when it was over, I looked at the man who keeps his receipts and rinses the coffee pot and thought, I like him. He doesn't mistake carrying someone for being chosen. He knows the difference between a promise and a pattern. He knows when to stop paying. Last week, on a quiet Sunday morning, I brewed coffee and FaceTimed my sister while her kids drew on the table in washable marker. She said, "You look good." Lighter, I said, "I sent an invoice this year." She laughed. Ultimate millennial romance reparations. We planned a picnic. I watered the basil. The sunlight made a rectangle on the floor the cat found immediately and claimed, like proof of ownership. I didn't wish for a balcony, the open window was enough. If you're listening to this and you're in a version of what I was in, someone between paychecks, someone who keeps forgetting, someone who says couples don't keep score while they hand you the bill and do the math. Not the math in your chest, the math in your bank app. Start a spreadsheet, save the proof, give them a deadline. Send the bill. If they pay, you'll get your balance back. If they don't, file. If you can't file, close the account anyway. The one in your head where you keep overdrafting your self-respect. A clean ledger is a love story too. It just stars you.